The Jataka Tales are a collection of ancient stories from the Buddhist tradition that have been passed down through generations. These tales, deeply embedded in the moral and philosophical fabric of the Buddhist worldview, offer invaluable lessons on ethics, human nature, and spiritual growth. Rooted in the teachings of the Buddha, the Jataka Tales recount the past lives of the Buddha, where he was born into various forms of life, from kings and animals to beggars and gods. Each story serves as a vehicle to illustrate virtues like kindness, selflessness, wisdom, and compassion, providing timeless guidance for those seeking a deeper understanding of life's meaning. The Jataka Tales are not just tales of wisdom, they are also narratives that illuminate the path toward enlightenment. The Buddha, in his many incarnations, often faced moral dilemmas, challenging circumstances, or adversities that required him to act with great virtue. The tales highlight how these virtuous actions, even in the face of hardship or temptation, ultimately lead to spiritual growth and a deeper understanding of the interconnectedness of all beings. These stories, told through a rich tapestry of allegories and parables, are not merely religious or philosophical in nature. They are also practical lessons for day-to-day life. In each Jataka tale, the Buddha's actions demonstrate how the practice of virtues, such as patience, generosity, and humility, can lead to personal growth and contribute to the welfare of others. These virtues are not abstract ideals but real-world tools that we can incorporate into our own lives to cultivate inner peace and promote harmony in our relationships with others. One of the most significant features of the Jataka Tales is their focus on the idea of rebirth. In these stories, the Buddha recounts his previous lives to show the continuous journey of the soul toward enlightenment. Each incarnation, whether as a human, animal, or divine being, offers valuable lessons that contribute to his ultimate realization of Buddhahood. The central theme of those tales is that the soul's evolution is not linear but cyclical, with each life offering an opportunity to learn, grow, and transcend all imitations of ego and desire. The stories within the Jataka Tales are many and varied, each offering a unique insight into the nature of life, suffering, and enlightenment. While it would be impossible to cover all of them in detail, we can explore a few key stories that capture the essence of the moral lessons they impart. One of the most famous stories is that of the tale of the Monkey King, where the Buddha was reborn as a wise and compassionate Monkey King. In this tale, the Monkey King demonstrates extraordinary selflessness and courage when he sacrifices his own life to save his fellow monkeys from a hunter's trap. This act of self-sacrifice is a perfect example of the Buddha's teaching on compassion and the importance of putting others' welfare before one's own. Another popular Jataka tale is the story of the Great Elephant. In this story, the Buddha is born as a magnificent elephant, and he demonstrates the qualities of patience, kindness, and wisdom. Despite being wrongfully captured and mistreated by humans, the elephant remains calm and composed, refusing to retaliate with anger. Through this tale, the Buddha teaches the importance of practicing equanimity and maintaining a peaceful mind even in the face of adversity. There is also the tale of the wise parrot, where the Buddha is born as a parrot. In this story, the parrot demonstrates great intelligence and kindness, helping others and offering valuable advice. The story highlights the importance of wisdom in guiding one's actions, showing that even the smallest creatures can make a significant impact on the world through their intelligence and compassion. The Jataka Tales also contain stories of sacrifice, such as the tale of the princess and the hare. In this story, the Buddha is reborn as a hare, and he is called upon to make a great sacrifice for the welfare of others. The hare's ultimate act of giving is a powerful reminder that true generosity involves selflessness and the willingness to give up even one's own life for the benefit of others. The themes of patience and forgiveness are also deeply embedded in many of the Jataka Tales. For instance, in the tale of the golden goose, the Buddha is born as a golden goose who helps a poor man by providing him with a single golden feather. The poor man, driven by greed, tries to harm the goose to get more feathers, but the goose, embodying patience and forgiveness, chooses to forgive the man rather than retaliate. This story teaches us the importance of practicing patience and the power of forgiveness and healing relationships. In addition to these more familiar tales, the Jataka Tales also contain stories that explore the complexities of human relationships. One such story is the tale of the four friends, where the Buddha is born as a wise and compassionate king who helps four friends, a lion, a jackal, a rabbit, and a monkey who are in need of assistance. The story underscores the value of cooperation and the idea that true friendship transcends differences in species, background, and status. It's a lesson on unity and how collaboration can lead to mutual success and happiness. The Jataka Tales are also filled with stories about the importance of right action, or karma. In the tale of the badger, the Buddha is reborn as a badger who is wrongfully accused of committing a crime. Despite the accusation, the badger remains calm and composed, demonstrating that right action will eventually lead to justice, even when faced with false accusations and misunderstandings. This tale illustrates the Buddhist principle of karmic justice, how our actions, good or bad, will eventually come to fruition. The tales often feature animals, such as in the tale of the stag, where the Buddha is reborn as a stag who, despite being pursued by hunters, remains true to his principles. The stag teaches the importance of maintaining one's integrity and principles in difficult circumstances, demonstrating that true wisdom comes from adhering to ethical behavior, regardless of external pressures. One of the most important aspects of the Jataka Tales is their deep connection to Buddhist concepts such as the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. The tales illustrate how these teachings can be applied to everyday life in practical, meaningful ways. For example, in many of the stories, the Buddha's actions demonstrate the application of right speech, right action, and right livelihood, all aspects of the Eightfold Path. Through the Jataka Tales, we see how the cultivation of wisdom, ethics, and mental discipline can lead to personal transformation and spiritual awakening. The Jataka Tales are not only stories of moral lessons, they also serve as a reminder of the interconnectedness of all beings. They emphasize the importance of compassion for all creatures, regardless of their form or status. In many of the stories, the Buddha is reborn as an animal or a humble being, which highlights the idea that all life forms are valuable and deserving of kindness. This interconnectedness is a core principle of Buddhist thought, reminding us that our actions have far-reaching consequences, not just for ourselves, but for the world around us. Moreover, the Jataka Tales reflect the Buddhist view of non-attachment. In many of the stories, the Buddha demonstrates detachment from worldly desires and the impermanence of life. For instance, in the tale of the wise king, the Buddha, as a king, gives up his kingdom and renounces his wealth to live a life of simplicity and spiritual pursuit. This act of renunciation is an essential part of the Buddhist path, reminding us that attachment to material possessions and the fleeting nature of worldly life can lead to suffering. Through the lens of the Jataka Tales, we can also see the theme of gradual self-improvement. In these stories, the Buddha's past lives show his ongoing progress toward enlightenment, illustrating that spiritual growth is a gradual process. Each incarnation presents a new opportunity for learning and development, and each tale serves as a reminder that enlightenment is not something that happens overnight but is achieved through consistent effort and practice over time. As we explore the Jataka Tales, we find that the stories are not merely historical or religious texts, but practical guides for living a more virtuous and meaningful life. They offer a blueprint for personal development and spiritual growth, showing us how to cultivate qualities like kindness, patience, humility, and wisdom. These tales are deeply relevant to our lives today, offering timeless wisdom for navigating the challenges of the modern world. The Jataka Tales also encourage reflection on the nature of selflessness and the importance of helping others. In many of the stories, the Buddha demonstrates that true happiness comes not from selfish desires but from acts of generosity and kindness. By serving others, we not only contribute to their well-being but also experience a deep sense of fulfillment and inner peace. The tales emphasize that happiness is not something to be sought externally but arises from cultivating virtues and living in harmony with others. In conclusion, the Jataka Tales are not just stories, they are profound teachings on the nature of life, suffering, and the path to enlightenment. Through these tales, we learn how to live with wisdom, compassion, and integrity. We are reminded of the importance of ethical conduct, selflessness, and patience in our daily lives. By embodying the virtues taught in these stories, we can transform ourselves and contribute to the well-being of others. The Jataka Tales offer timeless lessons that continue to inspire and guide individuals on their journey toward enlightenment, showing that even in the most challenging circumstances, we can find the wisdom and courage to act with compassion and understanding.